As an editor, audio should never be an afterthought. If you think about it, audio is 50% of your experience as a viewer. Films and videos that were poorly shot have often been salvaged by decent soundtracks. The opposite can be said for films with poor soundtracks. If your audience can't hear what's being said, or your music and effects call attention to themselves, all the effort you put into your camera work will be wasted. In this lesson, we'll look at Final Cut Pro's sound editing tools and how they can be put to use in the service of telling your story. Before we begin this lesson, let's duplicate the project we've been working on. Duplicating a project is often a good idea when you plan on making significant changes to the edit. The benefit being, you are creating a backup of your work while giving you the ability to retrieve the project in a previous state, just in case things go horribly wrong. Bring up the project library by pressing Command 0 on your keyboard. Right-click on the Weekend Warriors project header and choose Duplicate Project from the menu. A window will appear giving you 3 options for how you want Final Cut Pro to manage the project and its associated media. The first option, Duplicate Project Only, will create a copy of the project in your project library, but all the media that the project references will remain in its current location. In other words, this option creates a project pointer to the media in the events library in the Finder. In almost every case where you simply want to create a backup of your project without duplicating media, this is the option you should choose. The second option, Duplicate Project and Reference Events, does what it advertises. That is, it will duplicate the project and the event media. This would be the option you would choose if you wanted to consolidate your project to another drive. You would then need to select a new location for your event media using the Location pull-down menu at the top of the window. The third option, Duplicate Project plus Used Clips Only, is similar to the second option with 2 differences. For one, this option only duplicates media that is currently being used in your project. Second, you have the ability to duplicate the media into a completely new event. Currently, all the media being referenced by our project is located in the Reenactors event. You can also see this in the event library. Using the input field, you could name your new event something entirely different. Finally, this window also allows you to include any render files for a given duplicate operation. We'll cover rendering in a forthcoming lesson. For now, select Duplicate Project Only and click OK. In the project library, the project is duplicated and the name is appended with the words FCP1 in parentheses. Let's change the name to something more meaningful. Click on the name until it highlights. Remove the FCP1 and add the words Audio Mix to the name and press Return. Double-click the project to load it into the timeline and press Shift-Z to fit the clips to the window. Since this entire lesson will be focused on audio, let's set up our timeline to maximize the focus on the sound portion of our clips. In the Clip Appearance window, choose the second button from the left. From the View menu, choose Expand Audio-Video Clips for All. Let's also reveal the audio meters so we can monitor our sound output levels as we work. At the far right of the dashboard, click the audio meter graphic to reveal the full-scale meters in the lower right of the timeline. If you play any portion of your project, the audio is graphically represented by 5 discrete LED ballistics. This should tell you that Final Cut Pro X gives you the ability to monitor, manipulate, and output surround mixes. But more on that later. Finally, turn off audio scrubbing by pressing Shift-S. Let's begin by doing some audio work on the first 2 clips in the timeline. Pan over to the drills and the first Texas 2 shot at the head of the timeline. For this first edit, we're going to extend the audio of the marching Union soldiers under the shot of the 2 Confederate soldiers. In other words, we're going to create a split edit. With your selection tool active, select the outgoing audio portion of the drills clip, then drag to the right. The audio for the first Texas 2 shot automatically yields the right-of-way by dropping below the clip we're extending. This is Final Cut Pro's new magnetic timeline in action. Drag until the tooltip reads roughly 9 seconds. Remember, you can also use your comma period keys to nudge the edit point right or left. Now that we have some overlap, let's fade out the audio of the soldiers to match the duration of the overlap. Whenever your mouse enters an audio clip, 2 dots appear in the upper corners. These dots are called fade handles. Position your mouse over the fade handle at the end of the clip and drag to the left. Drag until the handle is aligned with the start of the audio for the first Texas 2 shot. Play the edit back to hear the result.
1, 2, 1.
We win 90% of the battles.
Final Cut Pro allows you to apply 4 different types of fades to your clips. Right-click on the fade handle to bring up a menu of options. The default fade type is called a logarithmic fade because the rate of change happens slower at the beginning of the fade, then quickly tapers off at the end. These are the most common types of fades because they more closely approximate how humans perceive increases and decreases in volume. The fade type directly below it is an exponential fade, where the volume decreases more rapidly at the beginning, then tapers off at the end. Linear fades, on the other hand, keep the rate of volume change constant through the fade, which is why they are represented by a straight line. And finally, S-curve fades start out slowly, speed up in the middle of the fade, then slows down again at the end. Set the fade type to +3 dB log fade. Let's make a volume change to the first clip in the timeline, then paste the volume to the second clip. Press the home key, then the space bar to play back the first 2 clips while watching the meters.
1, 2, 1.
We win 90% of the battles.
The audio meters reveal that both these clips are pushing 0 dB. We'll need to lower the volume of these clips to meet broadcast standards. Move your mouse pointer over the thin black line in the drill's audio waveform. This line is called the volume bar. When you see the resize icon, drag downward until the value reads -6 dB. To copy the volume and fade from this clip to the next clip, select the clip, then from the Edit menu choose Copy. Now select the first Texas 2 shot, then go back to the Edit menu and choose Paste Effect or press Option-Command-V. The volume and the fade from the first clip is pasted to the second and the waveform reacts to the change. Now play the next 2 clips in the timeline.
We've done events like this in front of thousands and thousands of people.
If you look at the top of the audio meters, you'll see a pair of red bars, or flags. These flags indicate audio that is distorted or clipped. Clipping can be the result of audio that was recorded too hot during the shoot, or it can be the result of combining 2 or more audio clips in the timeline where each clip's combined sound level exceeds the maximum output threshold, which in every case is 0 dBFS on the meters. To determine which of these 2 scenarios is triggering the distortion flags, you'll need to solo each clip. Select the Confederate firing line 2 clips audio and press Option S. As you play back the clip, watch the meters. As you can see, the audio levels are peaking just below the 0 dB threshold. So by itself, this clip is not triggering the distortion flags. Press Option S to turn off soloing for this clip, then select the Dave Interview 01 clip and press Option S. Play this clip back while watching the meters.
We've done events like this in front of thousands and thousands of people.
This clip too, while very close to triggering the flags, is not the culprit either. So the distortion must be the result of the audio levels being combined where they overlap in the timeline. Turn off soloing for this clip and play back both clips again. Watch the meters when the playhead passes over the overlap.
We've done events like this in front of thousands.
Sure enough. Before we deal with this problem, let me briefly discuss audio delivery requirements in general. Optimal sound levels depend largely on the format you're mastering to. In digital mastering, you must monitor for peaks, which is the loudest point your project reaches, and you must also master for average volume. The average volume is important because this is the overall subjective volume of your entire program. With this in mind, 0 dBFS is never where you want your audio to peak, especially for dialogue. For most delivery requirements, -6 dBFS is the optimal peak level, with the average level reading -12 dBFS. Position your mouse over the volume bar of the Dave Interview 01 clip. When you see the resize pointer, drag downward until the tooltip reads -6 dB. Let's also create a fade at the tail of the Confederate firing line 2 clip. Drag left until the fade is aligned with the start of Dave's audio. Right-click on the fade handle and choose an exponential -3 dB fade. With this fade type, the loud gunfire from the battle scene will fade out more rapidly as Dave's interview audio comes in. Play the two clips back and you'll notice the red flags do not reappear in the meters and the fade out sounds perfectly natural.
We've done events like this in front of thousands and thousands of people.
You can also adjust the volume of the clip in the audio inspector. Select the next Dave interview clip, then click the inspector button at the far right of the interface, or press Command 4. A pane is revealed with options for controlling video and audio. We'll look at these in more detail as we progress through the tutorial. For now, click the Audio button to reveal the audio properties. You can control the overall clip volume with this slider. As you drag, the waveform display on the clip reacts to your volume adjustments. You can also enter a precise value. Click on the number, then enter -6 in the input field and press Return. To reset all the properties to their defaults, click the Reset arrow. One of the fastest ways to change volume is with the keyboard. Make sure the clip is selected, then press Ctrl- to reduce the volume and Ctrl+ to increase it. The waveform reacts to your volume adjustments. More importantly, in order to see the actual volume level as you make your adjustments on your keyboard, you'll want to have the audio inspector open. Adjust the volume until the value in the inspector reports -6 dB. Now let's lower the volume on 3 clips at once. With your Command key held down, select the Union Firing Line Reverse, Union Firing Line, and Cannon Loading Connected clips. In the inspector, click on the volume input field and enter -15 dB and press Return. Now play back the interview that includes the cutaways and sound effect.
Like this in front of thousands and thousands of people. For them, it's a way to learn what living history is like.
When you finish making your audio volume and fade adjustments, choose Collapse All Clips from the View menu.